All right, welcome back to another edition of the Founders Table, where you can pull up a chair and sit with some real founders and talk about the topics that founders face every day. I'm Nick Long, that's been missing in action, but I am back with my main man, Mr. Anthony Basilio.
How was your 3 vacations in the last 4 weeks?
They weren't vacations, man. I appreciate the little soundbite on the last one, but I believe in what I call work-life integration.
I understand that. This is what I saw. I'm at a mastermind in Florida, and then the next was a video on a yacht with his wife on his shoulders doing a shot of something. I was like, that's some mastermind he's at.
Work-life integration. You know, some people want to work hard and then retire.
And the next video I saw was a table and bottles at 11 in Miami at 4 in the morning.
You ever been to 11?
Once.
Oh, my gosh.
It's complete insanity.
Yeah, it's insane.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. So if you work hard, you can play hard. If you play hard, you got to work hard. But speaking of working hard, we have worked hard to think about the topics that you as founders face. And today's going to be rapid fire. We're going to try something new.
Let's go.
We're going to rapid fire. So cut the deck. All right. Pull a card. What do we got?
Navigating funding rounds. Oh, it's right in your wheelhouse.
Ooh, navigating funding rounds.
Now, I could go first because
–
in my career, I've never, ever had to raise money or try to raise money.
You've never tried?
I've never tried. We've always bootstrapped. Kevin's been my partner. And then before that, when I was in the mortgage business, we didn't need to raise capital. We used our own money. So I never had to do this. I almost did have to raise money. And then when COVID
was that a personal preference, or did you just not?
Yeah, personal preference. I just never wanted to let go of anything I had or control of anything. And when you raise money, if you guys don't know that, obviously you have to let go of some control here. But I almost did have to raise money. And then once COVID happened, during that time, things were a little and then we did get lucky and capitalize on those
ERC,
SBA,
PPC.
COVID loans, ERC, the PPP.
Yep.
And then we got some loans that you'll never see again at rates you'll never see again. So we never had to raise money. But you, my friend, this is what you've done.
All right. So navigating through funding rounds. So first of all, I'm gonna give you a title that I call the Bootstrap Bandit.
Yeah.
And this is most entrepreneurs is they like to bootstrap, because to Anthony's point, when you are raising funds, you're going to be giving up something. Sometimes it's control, but all the time, depending on how you raise the money, it's equity. And equity, like, you can't get back unless you buy it out or you're paying them out upon a liquidation event, aka an exit, right? So if you're raising money, you just have to, first of all, be crystal clear on, one, do you need the money? Like, you guys,
of course,
you guys have been able to figure it out. But I'll ask you a question. Like, how hard is it to bootstrap a company?
You're really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to, like, work through, like, the cash flow,
nonstop
deficits.
Yeah, budgeting per department, who you can hire to start, who you can't. You're doing a lot of the work yourself. If I was to go back in time and raise money, then immediately I'm hiring an HR coordinator, I'm hiring a sales director. Like, all those hires were just hired over time as we became more profitable. We had nothing. It was just us three, one sales guy, second sales guy, third sales guy, one customer service agent, one girl answered the phones. Like, it grew like that.
Right.
And it took a lot longer to grow for we didn't have the capital for fast growth.
Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, right? And
Yeah.
so that's the whole thing. I think first, navigating a funding round is you must, like, navigate the merry-go-round of insanity in your head as to what it is that you really want. So I say, like, the capital should only be a catapult, right? It should propel you farther than you can do it on your own, and or in a faster time frame that you can do it in your own. Because that money that you take in a funding round, if it's not debt, which we don't have time to go into, like, super depth here, but if it's not debt, like, that's the most expensive money you're ever going to take.
Yeah.
That's the most expensive money, because if you give up 10% of your company, call it for $1 million, right, in the very beginning, and you sell for $100 million down the road,
Even 10 million.
well, if you sell for 10 million, you give it 10%, it's the same. 6, 1 half dozen the other.
Okay, yeah, 100.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that math checks out. But if you sell for 20 million, that million cost you 2. If you sell for 50 million, that million cost you 5. You sell for 100 million, that million costs you $10 million. You know, so if you can get yourself to a position of proof of concept, like that's when you should start looking at funding. And when you, so I say navigate the merry-go-round of your mind. Like, why do you want the funding? What is the funding going to do for you? How much are you willing to give up of your company? How can you actually raise that money and get someone to believe that your company's worth that? Because in the beginning, most of the time your company isn't worth anything.
And then when you go to the next round or the
Right.
next round, how does that happen?
So when you go to the next
I've
round,
never had to go through this.
It always has to be like a catapult moment that like that capital is going to come in and be deployed and accelerate the human capital aspect, being able to hire people, accelerating the marketing aspect, and getting you to a place that you can't just you physically can't do with your own cash flow, but you have a plan in place that capital is going to insulate and allow you to capitalize or to collapse time, if you will, on your plan.
It's such a different world operating that way.
It really is, and there's a lot of red tape that comes along with it.
Of course.
And a lot of people think that like cash solves my problems, and it really doesn't. Like even well-funded companies fail.
Yeah,
Because they fail to have a plan, they fail to measure against, you know, what they thought was going to happen, and then they fail to win investor trust on the next round. You mess up your first funding round, I mean, that's worse than like having cash flow problems.
because no one's ever going to give you money again.
No, not at all.
There's your reputation.
And so this is why we always say like businessman or businesswoman over business plan, because they're really investing in their belief in you as a CEO, as a founder, as a leader, that you're going to pull off what it is that you said you're going to pull off inside of your beautiful pitch deck. Your pitch deck doesn't mean shit. Like it's your ability to execute on that pitch deck. Right. But if you do a funding round successfully, not just in the procurement of, but the deployment of the capital, and you're able to hit those benchmarks, dude, you could write your own ticket.
Then
you
you
know,
can raise money whenever you want.
and so the idea is every time you go to a funding round, the value of the company goes up because you're going to get diluted, which means your percentage of the company goes down because you're giving up equity.
But your percentage still should be worth more than what it was before you get diluted because of valuation.
100%. So you raise $1 million on a $10 million value, then you go raise $5 million on a $50 million value.
So your percentage is still worth more even though it's going down.
Right, exactly. So now the what you retained is worth infinitely more. And ultimately, when you should raise money is when you're going to accelerate the process and actually have a liquidity event at the end, because that is where you're going to achieve all your wealth, not in the day-to-day cash flow of the business.
Exit.
Yes, exit. All right, so
Next one. Green. Well, creating a strategic roadmap.
well, I think this kind of goes hand in hand.
It does. It does. We actually we've been actually aggressively updating our product roadmap and making sure our entire company knows exactly where we're going with timelines with the product roadmap releases.
Well-
We're doing so much and working so fast to add to our product, and we have a product manager down in Tampa who heads up the whole development team, and we've been doing a once-a-month meeting with the entire company, showing them the updates and the progress of our product.
By the way, it
roadmap.
looks fantastic. And if you haven't seen, you got to head over to apntech.io, do your assessment today, and find out where you can upgrade your business and be more
This is a
visible.
nice plug.
Yeah.
You can't assess anything on the website, but go check it out.
You can't see anything on the website?
No, not yet.
Well, shit, that should be part of your strategic roadmap. What the? So, but let's talk about your strategic roadmap, because you do something that I heavily implore the companies I consult and start to bring to market. One of the things that enhances the value of a business is a business operating system. You guys operate with EOS.
EOS, yeah.
And so you guys inside of EOS, you guys have your L10, which is your weekly meeting,
Your level
right?
10s,
Level 10, which stands for they're shooting for a 10 out of 10 meeting. That meeting was worth like 10 out of 10 of my time, my energy, and investment into that.
Every department has a level 10
Right.
once a week where you solve your issues, your to-do list, you have your scorecard, whatever metrics you want to measure week to week on that meeting, and the meeting starts out with a segue of a good business win and a personal win,
Right.
and you end by rating the meeting, and it's really the core of.
But then you guys
EOS.
do quarterly,
Then we have our quarterly
and you
meetings.
do annual.
annual meetings. Then we have our 1 year target, 3 year target, 5 year target, your rocks, which are your 90-day
big things you're going to
big
move
things that you have to accomplish in 90 days. So yeah, it's a whole system.
So if that and that alone, if you implement some sort of business operating system, there's a lot of them. EOS is one of them. There's other ones that are out there. But if you have some sort of business operating system, like it forces you to be strategic in your planning.
And discipline.
Like you don't have a choice.
Nope.
How much has that helped you guys from a strategic planning perspective?
Oh, it's been huge. It's been huge. I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons why we've had success
Yeah,
is operating off a system compared to before that when my previous business more like, hey, let's do a meeting.
Willy-nilly.
Go into a room. Yeah, just like no plan
Structure.
meetings, no structure to the meetings, just talking about shit, nothing, no scorecards, no measuring week by week, no trends, nothing.
Yeah.
No racks or 90 days more like, oh, I'll do this. I'll have it done in 2 weeks. Like
So
all over the
right
place.
now you guys have a 5-year, 3-year, 1-year, quarterly, and monthly plan.
Yes, correct.
And so the thing with the strategic plan is you actually have to plan it. You have to plan the time, right? You have to plan the time, set aside the time. You have to be intentional about that time. I always tell people to start with the end in mind and reverse engineer. So you want to get your company to 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. What would that company need to look like at that 5-year mark? What would we need to look at the 3-year mark, the 1-year mark, and then
and all of that is in the VTO.
right,
Everything.
vision,
5-year plan.
traction.
What does it look like in 5
What
years?
does the O stand for?
Vision, traction, organizer. So your vision, the traction you have in your vision, and how it's all
Organized.
organized on this 2-page PDF. It's a consolidated 2-page PDF that has everything that we just spoke about on there. And then you vocalize that VTO with a VTO meeting to the entire office and all your employees, so they all know what the vision is and the traction and what role they play in the company's growth.
So
And the goals.
so EOS is really good. One of the ones I use is a thing called Exit Momentum. Is created by a gentleman. He's a good friend of ours. His name is Colin Talley. He's got a guy named Derek Keller that worked for them. The Exit Momentum is really cool because they took a lot of different pieces from EOS, scaling up a bunch of different systems, and they combined it to.
It's like EOS on steroids.
It is EOS on steroids. So
Yeah.
yeah, head over to exitmomentum.com. We're getting a lot of plugs in this one.
A lot of plugs.
Yeah, and ask for Colin Talley. Tell him that Nick sent you, not Anthony.
I'll send you the invoice, Cullen.
But a strategic plan, I think if you put a business operating system like Exit Momentum into your business, like that is probably the best way to get a strategic plan and the importance of that.
Time for one more?
Got time for one more. Let's
One
see
more
how
quick
much
one.
time we got. Yeah, we got time for one more.
All right, one more.
Hurry up.
Developing international expansion plans. Woof!
Okay, developing international expansion
Not for
plans.
me.
We are going to take that on another time because that's pretty deep. The first business I actually owned and ran was in multiple countries. We had a facility in Vietnam. We had an office in Denmark. We had an office in Spain, office in the UK, office in Mexico, office in Canada, office in the US, and it wasn't a disaster, but it was a lot of freaking work. So we'll save that for another time. Okay, that's another one that's a little challenging. Okay, ensuring continuous learning and development. That's a good one.
Ensuring continuous learning and development.
With your team, with your staff, with everybody.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I would say that if your organization is not learning, your organization is dying. If you're not encouraging continuous growth, continuous education, continuous product knowledge, continuous sales training, continuous marketing operations, your company is going to be static and it's going to be still, and things that are still eventually die.
Yeah, I think for us, we've done a really good job at bringing in a lot of things that a lot of our employees never even thought about doing when it comes to personal development and mindset training, and bringing in speakers and guys like Naveen and guys like our advisors.
Long.
Even Nick Long has spoken here many times.
Head over to nicklong.com to book your speaking engagement today.
And incorporating health and fitness and good habits and accountability. Besides the sales training, we're a sales focused
Driven
company,
organization, yeah.
But a lot of those other things I think have really helped. A lot of these guys don't have good habits, and getting them to establish good habits has been great. Even if only 10% of them even do that, that means a lot to us, that we've impacted them, because for us it's not just about them being employees, but just them being the best version of themselves.
I just as you were about to say that, I heard you about to say it's not about them just being employees. It's about them being empowered
And being empowered employees.
Empowered employees.
Yeah.
Right? So they can take ownership of their own life. When they take ownership of their own life, they come in here with less strife. When they come in here with less strife, they have like more intention about what they're doing. When they have more intention about what they're doing, they get better results. They get better results. They grow, and then that kind of is concentric circles to growing their life.
Most of the times when they're not producing at work, it's usually some kind of other
Personal issue.
Yeah, because our culture is so good. When they come in, they're happy. It's usually something at home, something with their wife, with their family, or not happy. But it's usually some kind of outside factor that they bring to work with them that causes them to have not good days.
And same thing with us as CEOs. That's why guys like you and I, our morning routine and our continuous growth and learning. That's why we join masterminds. That's why we challenge each other. That's why we work with great people like Colin and Derek and all the people that we have in our network, so that we can learn from them and we can collapse time. And if you think about like collapsing time and learning, that is like injecting capital into your business. It's like injecting like intellectual capital, human capital, and actually having a catapult again towards the ultimate result.
It doesn't even cost money. It's just effort.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So always be a student, always be learning. And if you want to continue to learn, then you got to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button here on this podcast, because every week we're coming to you. We're going to pull your card and show you exactly what you need to implement in your business, not from a theory perspective, but from a practical and tactical. You're looking at over 50 years of entrepreneurial experience here, and you're looking at all these little grays in here are mistakes that we made along
all
the
the hair
way.
that's gone.
Yeah, this guy two weeks ago had a full head of hair like Fabio.
two weeks ago.
Like, this is all stress.
Fabio.
If you want a full head of hair, if you want a full bank account, then tune in to these full episodes here at the Founders Table. I'm Nick Long,
I'm Anthony Basciglio.
and this has been another episode. Pull up a chair next time.